Yeah. By all accounts, the way that I grew up, I was probably doomed for failure. I was raised by a couple of teenagers. My mom was 16 when she had me. My dad, I think, was 18 or 19. So they didn't know what they were doing. I mean, they were babies having babies. I really don't even remember them being together. They split up when I was just a baby. So I always had, you know, my dad in one spot, my mom in another. And I kind of raised myself, honestly. I raised myself, I raised my mom, and I raised my brother when he came along 8 years later. And then my mom got remarried to this great guy, and he brought his daughter along, my stepsister. And when I say that it's a really rough area, my sister passed away when she was 22, 5 years ago, well, almost 6 years ago now, of an accidental overdose. It was very sudden, it was very unexpected, hit me to my core. To the point where I was ready to just give up. I just didn't want to get to bed, I was done. Just done. Thankfully, my husband brought me out of that. And prior to that, I had already done P90X, I had already done Insanity. I was already telling people about it. And it was after she passed away, and my husband really helped me realize that this was not what she wanted for me. She did not want me to just stay in bed for the rest of my life. I felt this sort of duty to go after what I want, figure out what my purpose is, figure out what my passion is, and go for it, because she didn't even get a chance to figure out what hers was. She never had that. She didn't know what she wanted to do. She never got married. She never had kids. So every day I keep a picture of her by my desk, and I remember that one of the reasons that I'm doing this is to honor her and the fact that she didn't get that chance. For my own personal physical transformation, I had terrible, terrible self-esteem growing up. I never really had that person who was proud of me or encouraged me or really even made me feel like I was worth it. So when I was a teenager, I literally hated my body, like hated it to the point where I would get dressed in the dark. When I got out of the shower and I had my towel on, I would start getting dressed under the towel so I wouldn't have to see myself. Like it was really bad. And I ended up having my kids pretty young too. I was 19 when I got pregnant with my daughter.
Hi.
She's sitting right there. She's 16 now. And when I knew I was having a girl, I was so scared because I knew how I felt as a teenage girl. And I knew the low self-esteem and how I felt about my body, and I thought it would devastate me if she felt that way about herself, the way that I had felt about myself. So she also was a huge part of my why, of my physical transformation, because I knew that the only way that I was going to teach her to love her body and to be comfortable in her skin was for her to see me doing it. Because one thing I've learned is our kids do not learn by what we tell them. They learn by what they see and the examples that we set for them. So I knew I had to do that. So like I said, I'd already done P90X, I'd already done Insanity. And my story of how I got into coaching is way different than anyone's I've ever known. I actually, does anyone know who Danny Johnson is? Yeah. She's like a business coach. Yeah. I actually knew about her first. I saw her on an episode of that show, Secret Millionaire. And yeah, so I looked her up. I'm like, who is this woman? And I realized that she was a business coach who taught a lot about network marketing. And I learned more and more and more. And I'm like, I really do believe in this. I really think that network marketing is the way to go. Like, I really believe this. And my husband is active Navy, so we move all the time. And I had a photography business that I had to rebuild from scratch every 3 years, which is awful. And it was so daunting, I didn't want to do that anymore. So I started doing research. Well, what companies can I get into? What's a good network marketing company to do? I looked at the Direct Selling Association websites, did all kinds of research. And that was how I found it. Was through the Direct Selling Association website. I saw that Beachbody was on there. And I'm like, well, I already do the program. I already love it. And so I seriously went to Danny Johnson's Facebook page. And I posted on it, who's a Beachbody coach? Because that's what I want to do. And that's how my coach found me. I've never met her in person. She lives somewhere in New York. Yeah, like it's so different than anybody else. And then, because I was so excited about it, I sat on it for like a year. Nothing. I'm like, oh, I'm an active military spouse. It doesn't cost me anything. There's no investment. I'm just not going to do anything, which is so stupid. And then it was 2000, so I joined in September 2011. So it was January 2013. I'm like, this is stupid, this is dumb, like I need to just get going. I need like no more excuses, I need to get in it and just do it. And I went Emerald in like a month, which was awesome. I signed my husband up as a coach, which he didn't even know at the time. Which is fine, I ran with it anyway. And then, you know, as what happens when things get kind of crazy and you have kids who have activities, and I just kind of let it go by the wayside again. So I started getting sort of this like training ADD. Does anyone do this? Where I'm like, ooh, this is a really good training, I'm going to do this. Ooh, this is a really good training, I'm going to do this. I'm going to implement that, I'm going to take that. And then I just like, it got overwhelming. And I need to stop. So my goal for this year is to trust the process. Get back to the basics. You know, they work. They work. We see it all the time. All the time. I see success story after success story of all these coaches who came from nothing. And I want to prove that where I came from and how I grew up does not define me. My choices and your story. So I'm in it to win it. I don't need to be a top coach. I don't need to be in the top 10. I don't care about any of that, honestly. I want freedom over my time, which is hugely important because I've missed out on far too many of my kids' events and experiences because I had to work because I couldn't get the time off from work. And that killed me. And I'm not doing